Tinubu represents a system of a self-centered elite who want to replace the colonial masters and who believe that the resources of the community, of the country belongs to them, and who believe that in trading favors among themselves, they can form an invisible queue of a limited number of people who will be taking power. And from there, and if you see how he's running the government, he's quite a lawless person, and a president that is lawless like that frightens me. And it should frighten you, because how can you take control of the economy of Nigeria like a bandit, have 3 appropriation acts simultaneously running, and you are not obeying any of them? And you go further to take loans as you want and whimsically spend the money as if it belonged to you. You don't obey the Appropriation Act. And you have a contradiction between you and your minister, between you and the National Assembly, between you and all your ministers, because your ministers are coming out to say, not even 1% of my capital vote has been given to me, and nobody's accounting for the money. And you now make yourself a fiscal hangman that wants to hang every hardworking Nigeria under a draconian and complicated self-interested taxation regime, where now people are being taxed for no representation, no performance, no government. Emilokon, it is my personal turn. Now, that's one philosophy of Tinubu, which I find to be a dangerous, narcissistic, and retrogressive philosophy. Then he went further to say, don't waste your time debating anybody, going anywhere to talk and convince anybody. I don't have time for all this balabulu and polaba. Power is not served a la carte. You don't ask for it. What you do is that you grab it, you snatch it, and you run away with it. That is a fascist statement. To say that ignore the people. They don't matter. Once you form enough power base, you grab the power.
Good evening and welcome to Majestic TV News. I'm your host, and tonight we have an exclusive report. Good evening, Nigeria. This is Majestic TV, bringing you the pulse of a nation at a critical crossroads. Tonight, we dissect a conversation sending shockwaves through the establishment and in the APC. Sean Okimbaloye sat down with Prince Adewole Adebayo, and the SDP candidate certainly did not hold back. He described President Tinubu's administration as a historic disaster, pointing to deep-seated rot within the current political system. He argues that Tinubu reflects the ultimate ruination of Nigeria over 26 years. That he has effectively surrendered the sovereignty of the Nigerian people to the greedy whims of a few. The prince labeled the 2026 Electoral Act a legislative coup designed solely to protect the skins of the ruling class. He said President Tinubu has become the mascot of failure, representing the total of our national struggles. He cited decades of rigged elections, unchecked corruption, and the blatant indecency that has plagued our return to civilian rule. He cautioned against politicians who were part of the very ruin they now claim to fight in 2027. He famously asked, "How can you kill the mosquitoes of an infestation only to bring in the cockroaches instead?" He argues you cannot perform surgery and leave half the cancer behind. You must clear the entire system out. By implication, he means Nigerians must engage in what should be seen as an electoral revolution in 2027. His message to you, the voter, is simple. 2027 is not about choosing between a lion and a tiger. It is about a clean break from a political past that is currently burying the future of our great nation. He insists Nigeria cannot afford another day of what he describes as the absolute worst of the worst leadership. Stay tuned to Majestic TV as we continue to track-walk the road to 2027. We bring the truth. We now bring you a curated segment of the high-stakes conversation between Prince Adewole Adebayo and Sean Okimbaloye. Together, they explore the rapidly shifting landscape of Nigerian politics as we head toward 2027. I'm your host, Oluebube Happiness. Thank you for joining us for this special report. Have a pleasant and peaceful evening.
How can you say that you are against the infestation of insects, but you are killing mosquitoes and bringing in cockroaches? You cannot be that hypocritical. There is a reason why I am opposed irreconcilably to President Tinubu. It's not because of his name. It's because of his deeds and his belief system and his actions. These people whose name you've mentioned share exactly the same. They've been in government. They've acted like him or worse in some situation. So my being opposed to President Tinubu on certain basic principles automatically means that I'm opposed to them too based on those principles. There's nothing personal. If you say that you do not want carnivorous animals because they can eat the flesh of the sheep, you cannot say, well, I don't like lions, but tigers are welcome. You need to be consistent. And the issue is that the government, the establishment, some of their wings are in government. Some of the wings of the establishment are left outside of that government. And the efforts they've made to enter the government has failed. So some of them are now forced to be in opposition. But they are not opposed to the ideas of the President Tinubu. They are opposed to the fact that they are not in his government. We are talking on behalf of Nigerian people who have been marginalized for decades now. So in trying to come to power through people's effort, we are not going to undercut ourselves by aligning with those who immediately they are in government. Tinubu will be laughing at you that, see, you thought that was bad, see them now. So what we are trying to do is to make sure that ignore all of them, focus on the Nigerian people. If the Nigerian people are interested in forming a government in line with the Constitution of Nigeria and making sure that decency is returned to government and that public service is clean, transparent, and corruption-free, and that the people who are going to be in charge of our affairs will be servants of the people, then they will come to people like us. They will boycott all of them. If you want to commit yourself to a surgery, you cannot remove half of the cancer and leave the other half. You have to clear the entire cancer. President Tinubu is the mascot of failure, representing all the failures we'll be having in government since we returned to civilian rule. So you cannot, therefore, go and remove him and restore those who started what he is following now. Is it rigged elections you are talking about? Elections were being rigged before President Tinubu became president. You see, corruption was taking place before he came. So he just continued and amplified that. So what you need to do is to clear all of them at once. And if the Nigerian people are not prepared to clear all of them at once, then it means that they are not prepared yet to liberate themselves. But we are going to talk about rapid development of Nigeria, and those who were in the Senate for 20 years without one single progressive law, are we going to say that because we are now angry with the present president, we are now going to align with them? When there are over 250 million Nigerians who can align with, who have clean record, who are patriotic, who have served in many capacities and are very much available and energetic. You cannot continue to hide from accountability and you say that, well, the other person is more corrupt than me. What we are saying, we're not saying that you have to be a saint first. You have to be honest and decent. If you have done something in the past that's not good, you have to admit, well, yes, when I was in government, I didn't do too well. I made one or two mistakes here. And now I realize the country cannot continue like that. Therefore, I have joined this group of patriots to try to change it. And you can be in the back seat. You are not immediately running for another office. We are just using you as an example that nobody is above redemption. Doesn't mean that we're immediately going to make you a governor after you have been a terrible minister. But if you come out and say, yes, mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa. So I did wrong, it's my fault. But I'm now coming to make it good. And you will do restitution. So if you are not doing restitution, you are just unemployed and broke, or you are trying to cover up your deeds, it's your choice. And every political party doesn't have to look like the other. If your political party is an association of disgraced people who still want to make noise, either to use politics to cover accountability, which are being asked, or generally just feel entitled that they must be in government all the time, you can form your political party. And if you are not coming in my lane, you are not disturbing me, why should I have problems? So you start to see the quality of party agents. When a retired army general is willing to be a party agent in his own polling unit, when you see a retired director of central bank coming out, not being big man, watching somebody watching Okinwaloye analysis on his desk or on his couch. When he's now out there saying, no, I want to make sure what goes on in my polling unit matters. When you see the so-called elite now leaving the cocoons of their houses and knocking the door of their own houseboy, house girl, and say, let us exercise our citizenship rights together. That's where you see the SDP in action. With all these big men holding meetings in their fancy parlors and going to higher hotels, you won't see us there.
So 2027 election invariably will be an election of the ordinary people.
That is when we can make a change, because if it's a big man versus big man, one gang of the elite versus another gang of the elite, the people will not partake, because they know that if a band of tigers are struggling with a den of lions over a carcass, no other animal is going to take out of it. So you leave them to fight the epic battle. But if it is a movement of the people, you will see that the elite themselves will advise themselves that their time is over.
You seem to have a fear about what Tinubu represents. And recently you've said that, you said there are those who are limited to the objective of defeating Tinubu. The SDP wants to defeat the system which Tinubu symbolizes. What exactly are you talking about when you say Tinubu and the system? What system are you talking about? And what symbolism do you think Tinubu represents?
Tinubu represents a system of a self-centered elite who want to replace the colonial masters and who believe that the resources of the community, of the country, belongs to them, and who believe that in trading favors among themselves, they can form an invisible queue of a limited number of people who will be taking power. And that's why Tinubu could tell you two things, which he told you publicly. There are many other things that are worse that he hasn't told you, that he's doing. But he told you two things. He said he read a litany of how many people he had helped to power. People he even knew were not competent, were not suitable. He said, I've helped them to power. This one was crying after losing. I made him to win. This other one, who's a governor, who will have made him governor? But I made him governor. So it is my turn. So he's not telling you that on behalf of the Nigerian people, I have a mission to perform. He's saying, all of you unqualified people who from time to time have entered government, who is the person who made it happen for you? It is me. So you need to pay me back. Emilokon, it is my personal turn. Now, that's one philosophy of Tinubu, which I find to be a dangerous, narcissistic, and retrogressive philosophy. Then he went further to say, don't waste your time debating anybody, going anywhere to talk and convince anybody. I don't have time for all this balabulu and polaba. Power is not served a la carte. You don't ask for it. What you do is that you grab it, you snatch it, and you run away with it. That is a fascist statement. To say that ignore the people. They don't matter. Once you form enough power base, you grab the power, and from there, and if you see how he's running the government, he's quite a lawless person, and a president that is lawless like that frightens me, and it should frighten you, because how can you take control of the economy of Nigeria like a bandit, have 3 appropriation acts simultaneously running, and you are not obeying any of them, and you go further to take loans as you want and whimsically spend the money as if it belonged to you? You don't obey the Appropriation Act. And you have a contradiction between you and your minister, between you and the National Assembly, between you and all your ministers, because your ministers are coming out to say, not even 1% of my capital vote has been given to me, and nobody's accounting for the money. And you now make yourself a fiscal hangman that wants to hang every hardworking Nigeria under a draconian and complicated self-interested taxation regime, where now people are being taxed for no representation, no performance, no government. So there are many people who were fumbling and bumbling in government in the past. I was very critical of President Goodluck Jonathan. I respect him. He's been very kind to me. But someone like Jonathan should not have been president. He wasn't qualified. He wasn't ready to do the work. So it's not Tinubu that's the only one. You've had Buhari, Buhari was not even present on this planet. He was living in another cuckoo land throughout the time he was there. He wouldn't know what Nigeria looked like if he saw it on the map. But he was there for 8 years. So now, Tinubu is an organized and scientific destroyer of the system. So he has competencies, but he's using the competencies negatively because he has seen a lot of gap. He knows that. He knows three things. The Nigerian elite are feckless, and they're about themselves because he's been financing them for some time. He's been seeing them. He knows that these people don't mean anything. They don't stand for anything. So if I confiscate the resources, they will all come to me, and all of them will start following me. He has achieved that. He also knows that political parties are people just looking for a way to be recognized and be compensated one way or the other. They don't have fidelity to their party, and they are not committed to that. So he's managed to make sure that such political parties are decimated. Lastly, he knows that if the Nigerian people are given a sense of fait accompli, they can lose hope and say, well, what can we do? This man is going to be there anyway. Let me just give up. So these are the three reasons why I think that we have not had a president as dangerous as President Tinubu. We've had poorly performing presidents. We've had incompetent presidents. We have presidents that were just not up to the task. But we've not had one that is what the Italian will call capo di tutti, the captain of them all, who is now coming to say, I will carry the entire government into a singularity. I will now make it about myself. And the government will be appropriating my own personal empire.
Is that how you see the Tinubu government?
That is how they are working.
But I mean, how do you then defend or your stance at a point you made a reference as to the fact that the Bola Tinubu government taxes everything. And there are those who will come out to say, that is not actually true. You don't have the fact. If in criticizing this government, and you see some of the policies of this government, it will be good for us to stay on some of these issues that have made up this government as it's formed. For example, the issue of state policing. The government has come to say, the president has said he wants state policing. And there are those who will say, a lot of Nigerians have been asking for state policing. Are you excited by that kind of move? The Attorney General, the new one, has made a move by setting up a committee for state policing. All these is in a bid to solving our security problem. Do you appreciate that effort, for example?
All window dressing. First, let's start with taxation. If you don't join me to raise this alarm, a time is coming when Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be taxing the oxygen you breathe, because it's taxing everything that you need to survive. It's taxing everything that is happening. There's no sector. You can tell me a sector and I will tell you what he's doing there. So it's taxing everybody to smithereens.
There are those who would disagree. And someone like Taiwo Oyedele has said, give me one additional tax that Tinubu had introduced.
Taiwo Oyedele is looking for a job.
No, just remember.
And he can't say anything.
And for example, the argument of the proponents of this new tax regime is to the fact that it's people-oriented. It's the poor-oriented tax regime that will allow the poor to pay less in taxation and allow those who earn more to pay.
What they are saying,
how then do you say Tinubu is taxing?
What they are saying to you is that the best way to be a barber is to barb your hair only one time, which is to behead you, to cut your head. If your head is gone, your hair will not grow anymore. That's what they are saying. You see, what they are doing is regressive and is dishonest. You pay taxes on everything you need to survive. Even private schools that are meant to complement the failure of expansion of access to public schools are being taxed. There is nothing that promotes your well-being and welfare that is not taxed. What they are saying to you is this, that we will make you so poor that you'll be below our tax bracket. So if I collect all the money in your pocket and you have no money left, I don't need to tax you anymore because I've already robbed you. So I already push you below minimum wage. I push you below survival rate. You cannot pay your house rent with the totality of all your income for the year. You cannot pay your house rent alone. You cannot use whatever your husband's salary or wife's salary to pay your children's school fees. You cannot survive. Your child, who is already 16 years old, is now already a debtor to Tinubu because he's being given a student loan to attend a school that has no laboratory, whose lecturer is on strike, and the session is not on, but the loan continues to count. So, and at the end of the day, they continue to push inflation into the economy while rigging the inflation figures. At the bottom line is that even if they wanted to tax you, you already have debt. There's nothing to tax you about. So what they are now doing is tax the people who can employ you. So those people also will not employ you anymore because the small businesses are now in the hook. Taxes are rising. Cost of business, costs are rising because power cost is rising. The amount you bought fuel last month is not the amount you're buying now. The amount you bought it last week is not the amount you're buying it now. And everything, a bag of cement, which I used to buy for 600 naira, is now 11,000 plus. So iron rod, don't do it anymore. So go on and go on and go on. Then your food is costing you more. Of course, there's a temporary lull in the increment in food pricing. They are selling that as food price coming down. So they're just lying to you. The highest cost in this government is the cost of truth, because truth has become so expensive that nobody can afford to say it. And what I'm bringing out in all of this is that President Tinubu is a present danger to this democracy. And the earlier the people of Nigeria realize that and come out en masse in the next election and vote not only him out, empty the National Assembly. Let us start afresh. Vote if you say, I don't like Tinubu, but I like the senator representing me, then you are confused. Because the senator is not representing you.
So you want a revolutionary election? You
want an election that empties the plate. Let those who are in National Assembly now come and be outside.
So like Trump said, empty the swamp.
Yes.
Drain the swamp.
Yeah, in this place, you drain the swamp. You also wash the swamp clean and then put concrete on top of the swamp so that nobody goes to that swamp anymore. And then you can start building, because there are many challenges. As I'm interviewing you now, not less than 10,000 children have been born in Nigeria. And they need water, they need electricity, they need housing, they need education, no investment in that. So you spend your time papering over the problems of the president. President is good at politics. He has A1 in politics, but hiding the F9 he has in governance. So, and I'm focusing on the F9 he has in government. There are some areas of government that President Tinubu doesn't have F9. He has absence, doesn't even show up. So now, those are the areas I want Nigerians to focus on. But he's entitled to his politics of survival. He's entitled to make friends. He's entitled to say, I will not solve Nigerian insecurity problem, but I will make friends with the Americans and hire lobbyists to help me, my wife, and my government, so that they can exonerate me and not Maduro me. So it is his right. But it's my right to point to the fact that we didn't elect him to come and re-elect himself. We elected him to come and serve. And he said, use only one metric, don't go far. He said, if he could not guarantee electricity, nobody should vote for him again. He said it with his own mouth. Twice in this interview, he has failed. Power cut, power cut. And as we are doing this interview now, we are running on a diesel generator. So on that basis alone, Tinubu, 2027 should be bye-bye Tinubu. Not only should we not vote for him, he should leave the government, and he should go to an island somewhere and go and relax for some time. When he comes back to Nigeria after 8 years, you will see what an SDP government can look like. He can become a tourist to Nigeria.
Why should Nigerians trust you? You seem to be campaigning for the job or asking for the job.
Yes.
What is your CV? Why should they trust you?
Look at me. What is there not to trust in me? I've been consistent in everything that I believed in. I've been in the same political party since I was 19 years old. I've practiced law in Nigeria. I've done business in Nigeria. I've lived in the neighborhood. It is your job to search for me, to search my background.
You need to tell Nigerians.
No,
if I'm interviewing you for a job today, if an employer, and I ask you, why should I employ you? It is your duty to be able to convince me that you are deserving of the job. And the Nigerians that are watching you right now, we want to know, why should we even look at you?
It's very simple. It's very simple. In June 2022, when I went to the NBA conference, other presidential candidates were there. I only asked them a question. You know me. This is the profession in which I have spent 26 years. You know me. You are my guarantors. I don't even need to tell you who I am. You know me. In every aspect of my life, you know me. I practice law in America. You can go and search my background there. If you want to give me 10 hours to sing my own praises, they're not enough. I'm not in government. In my state, you go there, every year, they give me the taxpayer of the year. It's an APC government. Maybe now that I'm talking about it, they will look for another person to give, but they can't, because every year I'm the best taxpayer of the year. So what do you want me to do? I can't turn water to wine. I'm not Jesus. But what I can tell you is that I can turn honesty into governance, and I can beautify politics. So asking me to speak for myself, of course I can speak for myself, but what is more reliable is for proper audit of my entire life in all the things I've gotten involved with and my contribution to the country. In addition to that, the principles that we're initiating in the Social Democratic Party are not principles limited to one person. These are principles that any reasonable person who implements Chapter 2 of the Constitution, fundamental objective and directive principle of state policy, will be able to achieve. We are not running a government that is idiosyncratic. That was why in the old days of the SDP, when Sheikh Musa Yar'Adua was disqualified, MK Abiola was able to come and run on that. Prior to that, people like Olufalaye and all of them had run on the same principle. The important thing is that get the principles right, and you will get the government right. And that's what the SDP has done. And that's why we look like we are the one with the ideological purifier. And that's why we were asking the other time whether we were a band of saints. No, it's because there is a minimum requirement. That's why when you see the army of many countries marching, they march together because they are marching to a beat. They select them according to certain heights, certain fitness, and when they are marching, they march as one entity.
You love Nigeria.
Certainly.
You are loyal to this country.
That's correct.
You can do anything to help this country.
Anything.
But why are you not willing to work with Bola Tinubu? Because
Bola Tinubu is not Nigeria. Bola Tinubu is in some way anti-Nigeria. And whether he means it to be anti-Nigeria or not, but he's working to make the country weaker and less united. Yesterday, I was at Awolowo's private home at Ikene, and when I was asked to make my contribution, I reminded all the Awoists there that, well, you can be wearing the rimless glasses, you can be putting Awolowo's cap, you can mimic his voice, but what you need to remember is how Awolowo wanted to be remembered. Awolowo said, I would like to be remembered for helping to build a strong and united multi-ethnic state in Nigeria. I would like to be remembered for having laid a basis for an irreversible revolution in education and in provision of social justice. I will not achieve all of these aims, but no Nigerian can ignore the fact that I've laid a basis and a pattern for their achievement. So that is the reason why I'm in politics. So it's not about joining one person or the other. If you are there to work for the Nigerian people, we can work together. But if you are there to perpetuate yourself, and your philosophy is that you are entitled to be in that office because of some personal favors you've done to some people who are involved in politics, and if you believe that, don't bother about the people, don't explain what you are doing to the people, all you need to do is organize yourself with money and power so that you can grab the power, snatch it, and run away with it. There is no way I can work with such a person.
But is it fair to refer to Bola Tinubu as the worst president of Nigeria?
Is that
fair?
One.
In your analysis?
Yes, there are three reasons why he's the worst president. One is the one in charge now when we have the most possible impact of bad governance. We have a very large population now. So if you mismanage the country in 1999, there's less impact than now. 2, he's doing it in a manner that is not just that he's incompetent, he's flimsy, he's an organized agenda to try to personalize the country and create a Bola Tinubu singularity.
Are you angry? Are you angry because almost all the governors are now in the APC?
No, I don't want them.
That's what you think. I don't. Singularizing the country.
No, I will explain the singularization of it. But those governors don't mean anything to me because they don't mean anything to their own people. So the magnetizing or the failure to one side it works with their failure polarity. I don't worry about that. The issue is that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is disregarding the law. I just gave you an example. He has 3 appropriation bills he signed by himself. He's ignoring all the 3. Running all the 3 simultaneously like a Houdini.
Prince Adebayo.
Yes.
Do you reckon, I mean, and you've been an entrepreneur. If you have bought over a company that is distressed, you know you need reformation. Yes. You know you need to turn things around. Yes. And it might be difficult in the early stage to turn things around. But this is what the Bola Tinubu administration has said, that this country was in a dire situation when they met it, when they got power, and fixing things and reforming the country is going to bring a lot of distress. I've been
an investment lawyer in many countries, and I can tell you, there are many motives for buying a company that is in distress. Sometimes you buy the company to strip the asset, to make the case of that business worse. So you buy it for cheap, and you now sell all its assets. And you can see that many of the companies that were privatized in Nigeria, people have taken their best assets. Nitel, Nigeria Airways, many of them, NEPA, they didn't revive them. They took over them, took the best assets for themselves, and left the public with the debt. That's number 1. Number 2, a doctor who took over a sick patient. If the aim is for the patient to die so that he can inherit the property, that's a different doctor. And that's what he is proving to be. He's worsening the case of Nigeria. He's applying dangerous methodology for the patient, even though the patient's problem is just to put the patient to sleep for a few hours, get an analgesic, improve their nutrition. But what he's doing is saying that you have a bad haircut, so let me decapitate you, cut your head off, in order to solve the problem of bad haircut. So President Tinubu, I don't have anything against him in person. I don't know him in person. He has not offended me in any way. But the way he's running the country, there are 3 clear things you need to understand. Your laws don't matter. He does whatever he likes if it works for him politically. That's it. Even bills he signed into law by himself, he ignores them. That's number 1. Number 2, don't mention accountability. Don't come to him to mention accountability. No. He wants to, and he has succeeded in making sure that he emasculates the other arms of government that are meant to make him accountable. Thirdly, he does not want the good health of an opposition. He does not want a healthy democracy where every political party, even the one that has a 1% chance, leave it with them, let them run themselves, let have the plurality of opinion. If the President Tinubu just listen to many of my suggestions and tapes, and if he goes to read the manifesto of the SDP, which he used to have with him in the past, if he reads that, because he used, in his innocent days, used to be a member of the party, and he was trying to kowtow what the party wanted, but he's now gotten to a point where he is bigger than his own party. He dictates what goes on there. In the SDP, no matter how big you are, you can't be bigger than the party. You have to follow the process. Even the few members we have in the National Assembly and the other House of Assembly, they know that we hold their hand and make sure that whatever they do there is in consonant with what the party believes in and promises the people of Nigeria.
So you don't give credit to this Tinubu government at all for anything?
Well, the only credit I can give to him is keeping himself alive, despite the troubles that he's personally faced and are not giving the country tragedy. But beyond his keeping himself alive, he hasn't done anything for the country. And it's unfortunate that trillions of public money has been passing through their hands, and these trillions of public money hasn't reflected in the welfare of the people. Even the local government where he comes from, their life is not better, is worse. The state where he comes from, their life is not better, is worse. The region where he comes from, or zone, their life is not better, is worse. You needed to go and play the tape of what happened at Ikene Awolowo Foundation. The president was the overall head of honor, whatever title, and he sent a senior member of his government to come and speak. After I spoke, he spoke, and the people were yelling at them, "Why are you lying to us? Go and play the tape. There's a live streaming of it." And they were saying, "Liar, why are you lying?" Because he was just there telling them the government has done this and done that, and the people don't see it. Why? Because even in Efunyela Hall, where we are doing the Awolowo Memorial, we have standby generators keeping us working there. And the roads to that place wasn't good. And nothing about what he's done in government is reflecting in the life of the people who came from different walks of life to gather there.
And this is how I would like us to wrap up. Do you have the feeling that this election might be free and fair?
This election have to be free and fair. We have no alternative. They may not want it to be free and fair, but we will make it free and fair. The first thing is that we must make the Nigerian people to be interested in it, to know that elections are not the ceremonial coronation of people who are in politics. It's for the people to dissolve the government and put a new one. And it is for the people to come. It will be free, fair, and credible when 75% to 80% of the voters show up. But if you are showing up at 7%, 8%, single digit, you can't guarantee that. That's why we are reaching the people. Don't let anybody discourage you. Even if they go and collect a law from Adolf Hitler to conduct this election, we will vote them out.
Right.
And I will come back to your studio and you'll be seeing where you will be putting the byline, former President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And most of the ragamuffins who are in National Assembly today, you will see them no more. We will vote each and every one of them out.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Join the conversation as we track the future of our nation.